everybody. I look a little different and might sound a little different because I am recording in New York City with my friends Emily and Christy. So Christy and I were talking when I was on the Casely trip not too long ago that I wanted you both actually to come on the podcast because I think it'd be really interesting to tell your story with Casely, which is the brand that Emily, you and your brother Mark started. And Christy, you were their first employee.
Yep.
Yeah. So go ahead and introduce yourself separately, where you grew up, kind of where you came from, and then we'll get straight into Casely.
Yeah. So I'm Emily. My brother and I started Casely in 2017. It's a phone case company, for those of you who don't know.
Are you okay? You know the company.
You've heard of it?
I don't know if you can hear this, but the producer that's on set with us, I don't know if you call it a set. I'm just going to call it a set.
Definitely.
Just said, oh shit, I know Casely. So that's cool.
Okay, my mind is blown.
First of all, how does that feel if you ever see someone walking in the street, using your phone case, or people that just know about your brand?
So it's becoming a little bit more comfortable, but I would say I feel like a fraud all the time. I'm just I can't believe you're holding that thing I designed. That is insane.
We have a group chat in our work Slack, and it's literally called Casely in the Wild. So we'll take creepy pictures if we see somebody with our phone cases, just to prove to everybody that we kept seeing it.
Yeah, so if you're holding a Casely and you see someone taking a photo of you, that's what's
Probably
happening.
Yeah. Well, when we were in Park City, actually, we were taking our photos, and some woman that was skiing by had the same phone case as Aaron.
Yeah.
And Aaron's taking a selfie, and we're like, no way, is that Casely?
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's probably a really cool.
And I also took a picture of her.
Yeah. And I'm sure it's in your group chat now.
No, I remember the first time we saw somebody with a Casely, and my mom was with us, and she just starts chasing this person down the street, and she's like, do you know that these are the founders of this company? I was like, oh my God, okay. So we can never have her around when this is happening.
Yeah. We keep it to ourselves, but other people, our friends, like to say something. But we would never tell someone that. Yeah, that's a Casely case.
And half the time, I think people are confusing it with another company. So
yeah, it makes sense.
The name unspoken.
Well, I mean, I just feel like the word case in general is just a common word. But I'm sure that's probably a really great, crazy feeling. So before Casely existed, we're getting back to the roots of who you are.
Yes. So I was born in Raleigh, North Carolina. I went to school at UNC Chapel Hill. Go Tar Heels.
Okay.
And I pretty much had a very traditional route. I was very I'm gonna do my schoolwork. I'm very academic, focused on pleasing my parents, exactly what they wanted. Whereas my brother, on the other hand, was I cannot, adhere to this traditional trajectory of whatever my parents see of us. And he was just starting all of these businesses. By the time he was 12, he was selling things kind of illegally.
Okay.
Not illegal, but doing
legal.
He was just pushing the boundaries of how he could start these businesses. And so definitely at the different ends of the spectrum. And I think we always respected each other, but I was just I could never be like that. And he was I could never be like that. I was in college. He started college 4 years after me. And he said that college was getting in the way of his business because he was selling incense at the time on Amazon. And so he dropped out of college. I graduated, moved up to New York, and he graduated, or did not graduate, dropped out. He came up to New York, and that is kind of when we started talking about what we wanted to do next, because he was you have this degree in marketing from Carolina. Mm-hmm. I have this background in entrepreneurship. How can we bring this together? Yeah, because I was working at the time at an advertising agency doing healthcare advertising. It was very boring, no creative energy coming out of me, and it was a drain. And so I was very, very ready to move after 18 months of doing that. So when he came here, we just kind of started popping around ideas. And Christy also moved up about the same time.
I moved up 6 months after Mark. But I'm also from Raleigh, North Carolina. So Casely is basically made up of all family and friends. So Mark and Emily are obviously siblings. Me and Mark actually went to high school together and then started dating like right after high school.
So how long have you guys been together?
We've been together like 7.5 years.
Oh my gosh.
Long time.
You're getting up there. So for listeners, Mark and Emily are brother and sister, and Christy is dating Mark.
Yes.
So her boss is her boyfriend.
And the two of us have lived together for 4 out of our 6 years in New York.
Yes.
And so you guys are roommates too.
Yeah.
Not now, but we used to be.
We were roommates for 4 years.
Okay.
So we're very close friends as well.
Yeah.
So were you guys friends first and you're like, my best friend's brother is the one for me? Or
No.
I
became
remember
friends through Mark?
she moved up to New York and it was her 21st birthday.
The
Her
20th.
Really?
I was
Oh, yes, it was.
still underage.
Because
How
they
was
were
it living in
babies.
New York as 20? I feel like so much
Nope.
of what there is to do here is like bars and restaurants and stuff.
Luckily, they're pretty lenient on
ID
ID.
here.
Oh, okay. I guess I forgot that fake IDs exist for a second.
don't even really need this.
Yeah.
Never mind. No, but I remember, so I was living, my boyfriend also lived in New York. So I was basically living in his apartment. They moved into my apartment. So we were kind of living together, but not really.
Yeah.
And I remember it was kind of like the first time we really hung out. I was like, it was her birthday. I was like, Mark, what should I buy her some alcohol? So I just like dropped off some vodka for her. And that was like our first interaction, really.
Yeah, basically.
You're like, nice to meet you. Here's
Yeah.
a bottle of Smirnoff.
Yeah, exactly.
I did
Happy 20th birthday. Yeah, I'm sure you would have gotten me a Sprite if you would have known I was 20.
Yeah, sorry.
I think my liquor of choice when I was in college, when I was 20, I think was Peach New Amsterdam. So
Oh, wow.
Oh.
yeah, and I thought at the time it was like really good, but now it just takes me back to like a
You can taste
basement
it now.
somewhere.
Yeah.
I was a Pinnacle whipped girl. So
Yeah.
just like disgusting, sweet in Coke. So
yes,
bad.
in
But
the
Well, my
Coke.
high school drink was pink lemonade brunettes. So
Oh,
do you
that's
don't-
like the whole. That's
You
like the
don't
whole
wanna
that's
bottle.
disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like bragging.
Is that like a Mad Dog? Those
No,
those-
it's vodka, but like
Oh.
literally the worst quality you could possibly get.
okay.
It might have been a North Carolina thing, but it was definitely Burnett's all the way.
We don't need to continue on this.
So you show up with this bottle of alcohol, meeting Christy for the first time.
Nope, didn't even look her in the eyes. Just dropped it off.
Drop and go.
It was like go puff on her front porch.
And she was like, I want that girl to work for me one day.
True.
Really? Is that how it was? Like, so how long were you guys dating before you had met Emily?
So me and Mark were long distance like a month after we started dating. So we were long distance for like
Okay.
6 months. So, but I knew him like a while before because we went to high school together. But so I didn't really know Emily until that like I moved to New York. Like we've met like
I think we'd like popped in and met each other.
yeah,
like,
but not like we've never like actually hung out until I
Okay.
moved to New York. Really.
yeah. And
but-
honestly, probably the first time we genuinely hung out was when we lived together.
Yeah, it's split 9.
Yeah, so essentially what happened was I had one apartment where I had 4 friends living there and I was like pretend living there while I was living with my boyfriend
Okay.
and he had 4 roommates there. And I was like basically trying to move in there full time at the end of that week. And so I started moving my stuff over and then they get an eviction notice. And they're like, there are not 2 means of egress, so you guys have to get out as soon as possible.
What does egress mean?
I didn't know either. It basically means like evacuation, like exits.
Oh.
So
Like
it's
their
a
landlord like
legal apartment.
illegally placed her boyfriend in like this room where like there was no way to like get out. Like,
Wait.
there was a fire.
Welcome to New York, where
At first
everything's
I was
illegal.
thinking like squatting, right? Because that's when you like illegally stay in a place.
You can
right?
do that too.
No, but this was because it was a fire.
They didn't do
hazard.
anything wrong.
Right.
Okay.
No, they had been living there for a full
They paid.
year, and then they just got like a notice like stuck to their door. They're like, you have to get out in 5 days or else we're just gonna take your stuff and you have to get out. So at the time, Mark was working in real estate. One of Robert's roommates was working at the same real estate firm. And so they got wind of this 7-bedroom apartment in Brooklyn.
Oh my gosh.
And
a
I
frat
was
house.
like, yeah.
Literally.
And so I was like, well, I've got enough people in my apartment and you've got enough people in your apartment. Let's just combine forces.
Oh, so you take the girls and then you take the guys.
Brady
So
Bunch style.
okay, but if you do the math, that's 8. So who got kicked out?
Well, there was
we
actually
had to
9
call,
of us.
There was 9.
So
Okay,
it was a
so-
7-bedroom with 2 couples. So me and Mark, and then Emily and Robert, her boyfriend.
okay, so no one's getting kicked out.
We had
You're
to-
just
we had-
coming
one
We
more.
had to recruit someone. She moved from North Carolina straight up to what we
God.
call Split 9 Ways, was our big apartment.
Okay. I'd be curious to hear what her parents thought. Like, yeah, I'm gonna go live in Brooklyn with like 8
Literally
other
had this
people.
frat house.
3 days later, she moved up, and now she works for Casely. So.
Yeah, she does. She
Really?
was actually she got hired right after me.
Okay, so out of these people in this house, how many people work for Casely?
4.
Yeah, still only 4.
4 out of the 9.
Okay.
But lots of like random connections of people
Yeah.
through those people.
So it
is
was-
how we've.
Mark and Emily started. They hired me. Then we hired Lauren, who handles like all of our customer support.
Okay.
Then we hired our friend Jeremy, who was her boyfriend's friend from high school.
Gotcha.
We brought everyone kind of like came on like in customer support because like, we just need like more and more help.
Right.
Then Jeremy came on, and then we hired our friend Julianne, who loves Fun on Weekdays, by the way. So
Oh,
hey, Jay.
Julianne.
She'll definitely be watching this. She was hired. She's our graphic designer, and then we hired Alexis, who you met in Park City.
Okay, so that is how many people total?
7 full-time in-house employees, 6
Okay.
are friends, and then Alexis was our first non-friend hire.
And now she's our friend.
And now she is our friend, yes.
Don't worry, Alexis. We love you.
Since signing the 15% pledge in 2020, Macy's has increased their number of Black-owned businesses 8-fold. Now during Black History Month and all year long, they're continuing their support for Black creators, changemakers, and causes. Join Macy's in celebrating Black History Month and Black brilliance by shopping Black-owned brands. You can also fund scholarships for historically Black colleges by donating online and rounding up in store for UNCF. You can learn more at macys.com/purpose. So you guys are very close-knit, which is, I think, such a great thing because you just started. It probably feels like family and friends all together. But how do you separate that when your employees are your friends? You know, like drawing that line between let's hang out right now or let's talk about business.
So I would say like once quarantine started, that's when the lines got really blurry because it was like, when does the workday start? When does it end?
And also
Yeah.
during quarantine, it was me. It was at that time it was 5 employees, and 4 of us were quarantining together. So it was like everybody but Lauren came to. We were in New Bern, North Carolina, like where Pepsi originated. So that's kind of why we did that Pepsi collab. But
Oh, okay.
yeah, so we quarantined there for 5 months, but 4 of the 5 employees like were living together for 5 months.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so very close knit, obviously. Like we literally have all lived together while working. But when we were in quarantine, we established this fun game where we all had a code word. After 5 o'clock or whatever, if you mention this word, we can talk about work. If you don't say your code word, we are not talking about work anymore. So it was like establishing very clear boundaries about like when we can do this. I'll say my brother, her boyfriend, is the worst at
Yeah.
boundaries.
Okay.
but he
Um,
loves
He's
working.
addicted to working.
Loves working. So like our dinners,
We're
like,
all
we had
very
to,
bad at it.
Yeah.
But he's like especially bad.
like
I mean,
Yeah.
you can talk about what it's like dating him.
it's interesting because he like loves talking about work, and like it's also hard when like we work together, so like a lot of our
Yes.
conversations are kind of around that.
Mhm.
And like if you work at a different company than your partner, then you can talk about like work drama, like all these things. Like we both know everything that's going on, so like that's one tough thing is like trying to like disconnect work from like if we're on a date or something.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely a lot of work talk, but like we talk about it because we like enjoy talking about it.
Yeah.
But he definitely loves the work talk, which is kind of hard, but
He's always been this way though.
Yeah.
Like ever since he was like 12, he would be like, I'm running this company out of my bedroom. If you come in here and take a phone charger, I'm charging you. Like he's just been like a little entrepreneur since he was born. It's
Yeah.
kind of wild.
definitely a born entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I
The
can-
definition of it.
I can definitely relate to that aspect of working with your partner because although Connor and I don't work for the same like business together, we do have so many overlaps. And like, do you guys live together?
Yeah.
Okay, so even at that, it's like when you're leaving work, you're already together at work and then you're coming back home. And you said that he's not really good at like maybe setting those boundaries. And it can definitely be hard if you're like super into it and you love what you're doing. And obviously it's his company.
Yeah.
So are there any ways that you guys do disconnect and like whether it's you going off on your own and doing things for fun on your own or you going and hanging out with your girlfriends? Like how do you try to make that separation at all?
We definitely try and like if one person work at the office, like kind of like other one like work from home, like a little bit of disconnect in that sense, but definitely very like together all the time.
Just trying to figure it out.
I thought you were gonna say you play backgammon.
Well, that's together.
They play that all the time.
No, but that. Oh yeah, we
but
do
like
playing
disconnect from
games.
work.
Oh yeah.
I love backgammon. I just
I need to
Connor
play
told me how to
you.
play it. Well, yeah, we can play each other, but I can't guarantee you that I know how to play it without him being there. So,
But yeah, lots of games, and then like we love like going out to eat. So like that's like a big thing that we like to do is like that's like one of our like favorite things to do is like go to nice restaurants and like eat out. So that's one thing. But
How do you get him to not talk about work while you're eating out though?
yeah.
Well, one thing is he does love to eavesdrop. So like if the
Oh.
table next to us, like he'll fill me in on all they're doing. So at least he fills me in on that. On the table next to us is drama.
I almost feel like too, work is almost that default conversation that you have when you don't really know what else to talk about. Like I find myself doing it. It's almost like someone you don't know that you're talking to and you're like, oh, how was the weather?
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
I think it's just an easy conversation to have because there's always something to talk about and because it's also kind of something you guys bond over. I mean,
Yeah.
you work together, you date together, you know everything that's going on. So
Yeah.
it's probably just easier to do that than it is to be like, tell me your deepest, darkest secret.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure. And like during the day, we like try and not talk about like too many things. So like we never like try and text like during the day so that we can actually like fill each other in on like things like at the end of the day. Because if we didn't, like if we were texting all day, then like what will we even talk about at the end of the day?
Right.
Mhm.
So you guys being such a close-knit company, do you ever get any like, I don't know, backlash isn't necessarily the right word I'm looking for, but do you ever get any feedback that it feels like maybe you're not being inclusive to people that are outside of your guys' network? Or are you at a point now where it's like you are starting to outsource other employees, like Alexis, who's the first hire?
I think like going into this, like when we started Casely, like our whole mindset was like we don't want the 9 to 5, like we don't want to be like tied down.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were like, me and Mark are such introverts at the end of the day. We were just like, I mean, if we're going to hire, like we really didn't want to because we just like, we're like having to interact with other people sounds crazy. But then like it was so natural just to hire our friends that like
They
it
already
kind of-
know your personality.
totally, and they knew the
everything.
brand, they knew like everything about like how we were going to work together. It was kind of like the perfect fluid situation.
Yeah, everybody knew like so much about Casely like before we even started,
Yeah.
basically. So that was helpful too. Like everyone like loved the brand. It's not like
Mhm.
some random person just applying because like they want like a full-time job.
Like our
Right.
entire friend group like feels passionately about our cases and
Yeah.
the designs and whatever. Like I feel like we've been outsourcing to them since we started the company. We'll like do polls, be like, what
Yeah.
designs do we like? Like it's just been kind of like a huge community anyway. And so
Right.
like when people needed a job, we're like, okay, how can we make a role for you? And so it's been like kind of a fun like way to bring everyone in, and like it feels like more like a family than it feels like a job.
Yeah, no,
Um,
totally. Like even when like when I was the only hire, they're like, "What do you want to do? Like, what do you want to excel in?" Which is like was such like a good feeling, like as an employee, like having like my bosses being like, what are your interests? Like, how can we help you do something like you're actually passionate about? So that's how I kind of like got into like social media more too, because like that was something like I like had an interest in like on my own, like outside of work. So like, and they like saw that. So they're like, we want you to like be able to excel in like basically anything you want to do, which was cool.
But I will say when we brought Christy on was like the huge like game changer for us actually considering hiring people outside of our friend group, because she's like had experience as a manager and like actually understands like how to, delegate. Whereas like me and Mark are like, well, I don't know how to explain anything. Like I'm just going to head down, do it myself and stay up all night. Whereas like she's taught us like that you can find people that are better at what you're doing and outsource basically. And so I think that's why it's only natural that Alexis was our first like non-friend hire, because
Yeah.
you connected with her really easily. And I think from there we're going to be a lot more like, I mean, Alexis like kind of blended in with the group
Yeah,
perfectly. And
yeah.
it's just like, it was like an eye opener that we can find the right people that like know what they're doing and we can bring them in. So if anyone's listening, we're hiring.
Are you? Okay.
Always.
Quick little plug then. What are you guys hiring for? Because there's a lot of girlies out there looking for a job.
Designers, assistants,
Yeah.
social media. What else?
Ads.
Yeah,
Okay.
anything.
Definitely designers. If any design
designers
girlies
for
out
sure.
there.
Yeah.
So currently, as it is, who is designing all of the cases for Casely?
So I've like been overseeing everything from the beginning. Like some of them I'll be like custom designing, but a lot of them will be outsourcing to other artists.
Okay.
And then we just recently hired our friend Julianne, who's now like amazing. She's come in with like so many fresh ideas because I feel like I've been doing this for like 6 years now, and I'm out of ideas for what to put on a phone case. So it's like amazing to get that fresh energy.
Because Emily was doing like everyone kind of wears like a ton of hats, but like Emily especially, like she taught herself how to like custom code. So like our entire website, like Emily like custom coded the entire thing, and like she's done like all the emails, like all the design on the website. She's done like all the designs on all the cases, like basically like anything with design plus like anything that has to do with like website and coding, like Emily kind of has had to handle. But then like bringing Julianne on also was like super helpful to like help with that. But
alleviated a lot of stress.
Yeah. But yeah, Emily does all the designs, and then Julianne has like, after being a full-time hire, helped take over a lot of that design as well.
Gotcha. I mean, I feel like if you're the one growing this company, it's been 7 years and you're the one that's looking so straight at it, it can be hard to like step away and get those fresh ideas, but it can also be even harder to be able to offload that work, because when you have so much trust and faith in yourself that you can do a good job, like how did you allow yourself to let go of that responsibility? Was it because you had confidence in seeing Christy do it, and then you saw confidence in Julianne? Yes.
I think at the end of the day, like everybody was coming with ideas that I didn't feel like I was a woman team. So like I never felt weird about outsourcing, because like I am not a designer by trade by any means. Like I came in here like I can't draw, I can't do any of this stuff, but it was literally just like taking elements online and just like teaching myself how to use Illustrator. And then I would say by like year 2 or 3 is when I got confident enough to make my own custom design without.
Also, if you go to like it would take forever, but the beginning of our Instagram, like the progression of like Emily's like Photoshop job, it was like absolutely horrendous.
Oh my God,
like,
it was so embarrassing.
So if you think you're bad now, just keep practicing and you can get better.
That is what I always say. Like you got to start somewhere and it always gets better. So yeah, it's been a very interesting journey. But no, I think like one of the biggest game changers in terms of design was when we started doing collabs.
Okay.
So our first collab was with Grateful Dead, and that is probably when I got the most comfortable with design myself, because they came to us with like all these really cool assets that they were like just like go crazy with it and like make whatever you want. And I think like and you also like made one of the designs, so it was never like just my job, but like it was like if anyone has an idea,
but if anyone has a vision, like she's able to like bring it to life, which is cool too.
Yeah but
Gotcha. So going back to phone cases, what was the reasoning for, you said that when you guys had both moved to New York, you knew you wanted to start something together. Did you always know you wanted to do phone cases? Was it just like an opportunistic idea? Or what was it about phone cases? Like what's the why behind Casely?
This is a great question. I think, so when my brother moved up to New York and we were like tossing around all the ideas, we started with watches. We had like a prototype for this watch called Mark Lawrence. There's one in the world. We started an Instagram. It did not take off, so we dropped that idea. And then when we all moved into the 7-bedroom, 9-people apartment, we just like every day we would toss out new ideas. Like everyone would sit around on this huge couch and be like, all right, what can they do? What can we do? Whatever. And then one day Mark saw on Instagram that like a bunch of girls were just like changing their phone case all the time. And he was like, I think that there's an opportunity here. Like I know it's super saturated, but like there's no phone case subscription. And at the time, like subscriptions were like huge. You know, it was like,
okay.
It was like Birchbox, you know, Ipsy, whatever, all those things. I was on all of them, which is like crazy because now it's like kind of dead, other than I guess FabFitFun, weird plug, but like so we were like maybe we could do a phone case subscription, and I was also like notoriously clumsy, horrible, broke my phone every month, like had to go beg the Apple guy for a new phone. And so he was like, this kind of fits your brand, you can do the creative stuff, like I'll do the business, like let's just try it out. So we ordered a bunch of samples and the phone cases sucked. The first ones were so horrible.
Bad. And so with that, you're just putting money into these samples and you get them and they're a piece of shit. So you just lost that money, right? Or do you return them?
No, we didn't know they sucked at the time.
Okay.
But like our friends were using it and they're like kind of falling apart.
Oh, okay. So this is your first item.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we invested like $10,000 and we're like, well, this is our livelihood, so we're doing this.
So that was your first order was $10,000.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, you guys have never gone to any outside like investors or anything. So this is all your money. You own 100% equity.
Yeah, no, I mean, Mark was the entrepreneur before, so he had the 10 grand. I was
Okay.
just the sad, really poor advertising girl. But yeah, so I owe him all of my dreams. Just kidding. But no, like I think it was a 10 grand investment in 20 SKUs, or no, I don't know, 20 designs, 40 SKUs, 2 sizes. And from there, we like started launching 2 designs every month through our subscription. And when we launched the first day, we were like hyping up to all of our friends. Like, we were like, this is going to be awesome. We're going to break the internet. 10 minutes pass, no orders. 20 minutes pass, no orders. I was like, Mom, where's your order?
Well, my friend Rachel like set an alarm. She was like, it's going to sell out before I can order. So my friend Rachel at the time was
Shout out to
Was the
Rachel,
first.
our
She
first
was your first
subscriber.
customer.
she was our first subscriber, yeah.
Yeah. But now fast forward, like the subscription is probably like less than 1% of our company. And now it's just like we're doing a bunch of one-off phone case sales, and like our collabs are the biggest part of
Yeah.
our business. So.
Right.
But better products now. We've definitely like taken notes of like everything our customers have sent us, and like just like how we like to have a phone case. Like we didn't want it to like stick to our pockets. Like we didn't want, obviously it has to be protective because we all drop our phone constantly, but
Mhm.
definitely evolving with what like our customers like and like what we like as people too. Like all of our designs are like stuff that we love as well. So it makes it helpful that like we would wear everything.
Definitely. Yeah. And I think like by year 2, we had enough money, we were able to invest in like our custom mold. And like that is when I think everything kind of took off. It was like we're actually creating like a phone case that works. And it's like to this day have never shattered my phone in a casely. It's been 7 years, and
yeah.
I probably shattered 25 phones before then. So
We love to hear it. So this first order, were these kind of like wholesale? You're putting your own design on it, and then after a little bit of time, then you started creating your own actual like mold for your own case that you can't just buy in bulk.
right. So we were still doing custom designs, but we like hired random designers on Upwork. We'd be like, can you
Gotcha.
make like a fish case? Can you make like a marble? Like I don't even know what we were doing. It was so like scrappy. Like we were making like it's so embarrassing to show you guys what
No,
we
I
did
think it's-
before.
I think it's a great story. I love to know this because I look at Casely now, and you guys just did your first influencer event. You guys are growing. More and more people are talking about Casely. I'm seeing more people with your phone cases. It's just really cool to hear your story of where you started and to know that like it didn't take off right away. I think
Definitely
is
not.
probably really motivating to most people that are listening to this, to just know that sometimes it takes a little bit of time and persistence to grow something that you're passionate about. So that first day when you weren't getting orders right away, was this your full-time job at this point?
So I was like working for the real estate agency that my brother was working for, kind of part-time. But it was just like it was so just random hours that I was
Okay.
able to like make enough to pay my rent, but like not really devoting any time to that. So pretty much from like 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. at night, we had this like little 10 by 10 room that I guess we rented out. Like it was like basically a WeWork. It was like, but it was like a knockoff version. It was and no windows. It was very sad.
We were in a closet.
But yeah, for like 14 hours a day, I was just sitting in there and just like plugging away, like, and nothing was coming of it. But to me, I was so naive, and I had never started a business. I was like, 4 orders, this is amazing. Like, this must be paying the rent. Like
For like $15.
Yeah.
each.
And honestly, a lot of it was just like on Instagram. We're just like commenting on random girls' like posts, just like constantly
Yeah.
being their
Like the
friend.
iconic line that we would always, well, like Mark and Emily, but I would help out. Your smile makes us smile. That was our, we posted that on everyone's Instagram post.
And yeah, there would be like these like 12-year-olds just DMing us, and those were probably our first
They're like,
customers.
hell yeah, we just got some influencers.
Yeah.
Wait, that might have to be the title of this podcast episode. Your smile makes
Oh,
me
I
smile.
love that. Oh my
That's
God.
cute.
Our friends would
Mark will
love that.
die.
So
Yeah, it was mostly Mark too commenting that.
wait, that makes it even better to know. Can you just imagine like these people reading it and it's actually just him?
This man.
Like, oh, that takes a
Oh,
whole
one
different
time he was
meaning.
accidentally on Christy's
No, he was on his
Instagram.
own. No, he was on his own.
Oh, that's sweet though. If my boyfriend commented that, I'd be like, what do you want to do tonight?
On a random 12-year-old.
Yeah, yeah. No, not on my account. On like people that he wanted to like be customers,
Okay.
but from his.
A little creepy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that takes a different meaning to it.
Yeah.
But so would you say that you built Casely, during your Fun on Weekdays outside of your job, technically?
Definitely. I mean, I was like definitely not focused on my other job, but I was not paying the rent with Casey at all, so I had to be.
Right. But without devoting your time, like literally all of your time, it would have never become what it is now. So
Absolutely not. Yeah.
definitely a great
And at the
investment.
time, Mark was working like 2 full-time jobs. Like as Casely, he would go like 6 a.m. to like 9 a.m. and then go to his like other like real estate job from like 9 to like 5 or 6 and then go back to Casely until like 10 or 11 at night. Like definitely not just like an easy breezy thing. Like definitely they both had to put
It
in
was a lot.
like
yeah.
14-hour days like every
Mhm.
single day to get also like 4 sales.
Yeah.
But they definitely like grinded away to get it.
They're like, where are we going to dinner tonight? We're rich.
Yeah.
I love
Ramen.
that. So, Christy, your background. And so, how old were you when you started dating Mark?
So we were like on and off in high school, like classic high school
Classic.
relationship. Doesn't count. Definitely does not count. But we started officially dating when I was like 19
Okay.
and I'm 26 now.
Okay. So, did you have a full time job in between college and Casely?
So I also dropped out of college. Me and Mark both dropped out like after our freshman year.
Okay.
And then that's when like he went to like UNCW. It's like kind of near the beach. I was still in Raleigh. So then we kind of like linked back up. Like we were both like kind of living at home.
Mm-hmm.
Then he moved to New York. I moved here 6 months after him. And then I actually started in the restaurant industry. So I was serving and then I was bartending and then I started managing. And then I started kind of working in like their like social media and like marketing for the company I worked for. And that's actually where I met Julianne as well.
Oh, okay.
So she was doing marketing for the same company. And then I just became like really good friends with her. She's like one of my best friends. So
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, you dropping out of college, do you ever have any regrets about that or ever feel any type of like FOMO?
at the time, definitely. Like I was so nervous, obviously. Like I moved to New York with $400 in my bank account. Like definitely was like, how am I supposed to pay my first month of rent? So definitely like a lot of FOMO there, but I basically moved directly into Split 9 Ways. So that helped that I had like that college experience basically.
a frat house.
Yeah. So it was like, yeah. And like
Living in
since
the house
I was in
through
the, yeah,
college.
literally. So at least I had that. But like it was such a weird house that we lived in because like none of us like had like real jobs almost. Like
Mhm.
I was the only one who like I was like in the restaurant industry, but everyone else had like a lot of people worked for the
Five
real
of
estate
us
company.
worked for the real estate company. Well, I was working in advertising. I quit because I was like, this is ridiculous. I need to get out of this
Yeah.
so I can hang out on the couch on the weekdays.
Our other friend, like he had a job where like he didn't like he was like doing nothing basically. Like it was just a bizarre atmosphere. It would be like Tuesday at like 2 p.m. There's like 8 of the 9 of us sitting on the couch, and we're like, what are we doing here? Like we're all just like watching TV, and we're like,
Everyone had
what's-
a job.
everyone did have jobs, but like random times we're like sitting on the couch. Definitely had a lot of fun on weekdays there. But so that was like my college experience. So like that definitely helped out. But at the time I was like, what am I doing? Like, am I making like the biggest mistake of my life? Because I don't have like the entrepreneurial spirit like Mark does,
Right.
but I definitely have like a working drive. So I just kind of like wanted to like climb my way up through the company I was at.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just kind of like sent an email. I was like, can I apply for a marketing position? And then I think Mark and Emily kind of like saw like my drive through like what I was doing with them and then hired me to work at Casey.
I love that. So, speaking of you working at Casely currently, so what is your actual role and what does your day to day look like?
So I am like head of social media and marketing.
Okay.
So I am mostly emailing back and forth with like influencers, creators. I do like content creation too. So like I do like a lot of stuff on TikTok now. And then I also like run the socials. So Alexis helps like tremendously, like basically runs the TikTok and then I'll just like help make some videos, but mostly emailing back and forth with creators and trying to find people who just fit the Casely vibe.
Right. Speaking of, you just had your first influencer trip,
Yes.
which is a huge accomplishment, and I'm so honored that I was a part of that.
You had to be there. It was like so fun that you were there.
Thank
And
you.
Erin, we loved Erin too.
Yes, we all love Erin. She's just good energy to be around. She's very innocent,
Yeah.
kind of like humor to her. She's just good to be around. So Erin,
Yeah.
if you're listening,
And your
everyone.
dynamic was so great together.
Yeah.
Everyone's obsessed with the sister situation.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that she was able to come. It was like a definitely different dynamic for myself because she kind of gets to see what I do, but also then again, I wasn't doing too much, just hanging out, being a good time. But how was that for you planning your first trip? Were there any challenges that you had or things that you learned that you would do differently the next time?
It was so fun. Like I'm always like definitely the designated like party planner in the friend group. Like love hosting. I love like any sort of event. I'm like all about it.
Mhm.
It was super stressful like leading up to it, especially because like I'll see influencers like posting on their accounts being like, I hate this company because of this, and like that's my worst
Yeah.
nightmare is like if someone doesn't like me or like doesn't like I don't know. I was just so nervous that like someone like might not like me and be like, I hate this company and like blow us up for that reason. But I was just trying to like plan it how I would want to go on the trip and like just kind of did like things that like I thought would be cool and like I thought would be fun. So that's kind of how I went with it. But I think it turned out great. And I was like, the dynamic of everyone was like really cool too. But
Mhm.
yeah, it was interesting.
We had a great time. I mean, I had a great time from my standpoint. Like, who wouldn't? We went snow tubing. We did, what else did we do? We went snow tubing. We went to
Paddleboard yoga.
paddleboard yoga, which was such a better workout than I was expecting.
I know.
Oh my gosh, I was
feel
sore.
like I need to try this.
And it was
So
very
cool.
calming too. It's like, why can I not move my arms the next day? Because you're just trying to balance. But we did a lot of fun activities. I think a lot of people always wonder, like, are influencer trips financially beneficial for a company? Did you see that there was a good like return on investment from doing this trip, bringing new engagement and new sales to Casely?
So in terms of like influencers, like how much people charge for going on them, like in that sense, like we would have never been able to afford to have like all these like huge influencers like
Mhm.
posting for us. And like a lot of them like haven't like really like heard that much about Casely or like they didn't know like too much about us, but I think they've like knew who we are and like have seen us through social posts. But it was cool having like these people that I love to follow. Like I loved following you. I loved following like everyone that came was like we reached out to like everyone, like all our first tier people, and like everyone said yes. And we're like, what's happening right now? So like that was kind of cool. We were like, did not expect, like, we just expected like no one to respond basically. But it was cool that like everyone was like, yeah, I'm so down to go. So it was like fun for me to see like these people that I look up to and like who like truly influence me and like a lot of stuff that I like wear and do, like supporting like a brand that I love.
Yeah.
And I would say, like, from a financial standpoint, like, yes, we'll see, like, sales, like, roll in with you guys' promo codes and that sort of thing. But, like, from a content standpoint, like, just being able to get this, like, really authentic, like, group vibe. Because we never get, like, many people in one photo, which I think is really cool that you guys were able to do that. And I think, like,
Mhm.
it just, like, brings more energy to the brand and the content. I think that is, like, where we saw, like, the biggest benefit.
Yeah.
For sure. I think a lot of people look at influencer trips and like, why the fuck would you spend money on that? Like, there's no way that they're selling thousands of phone
Yeah.
cases, which I think definitely can be the case. But I think just people hearing from you that wasn't even necessarily your main goal, that it was more so just getting more eyes on
Yeah.
the brand. and
Definitely
more
a big
brand
social
awareness.
buzz.
Yeah, and just like the content. I mean, like you said, influencer trips can be so expensive. And so to get a group of girls there essentially, you know, unpaid just because like they want to support the brand, I think is
Yeah.
also a huge accomplishment that you guys should be proud of, because not just anyone will like drop what they're doing and go and do this just to
Yeah.
have a good time. So
Totally. Yeah. Oh my God. There was something so random. My mom was like at a conference or something in Florida. She was like getting a Coke at the bar, like it was like in the middle of the day. And she was this like young girl sitting at the bar. And she was like, my mom always loves to plug Casely. Like any opportunity she has, she's talking about Casely. So she was like, talk to this random girl sitting at the bar. I was like, oh, have you heard of Casely? And she was like, were they just in Park City? And I was like, wait, what? You actually know? So like they were watching.
I
I don't know
that.
who she was following or if she was following us, but she was like, oh yeah, I was watching their Park City trip.
I
This
love
random
that.
girl.
So cool.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I'll still get people that will message me and ask if I have a code. I guess if you're listening to this, we can just plug it. I think my code is still Jenna Palick.
Yeah.
And I want to say it's 30% off.
Yeah, it's 30.
I have a case on right now too. I've had this one on. I used to have the cowboy
a
one,
sneak peek
but I
one.
changed this in Park City and I haven't changed it back because I like it.
I love that one.
But so I wanted to ask, obviously you said that you're looking at influencers that you like to follow. Has there ever been an instance where the people that you follow don't necessarily match like the vibe that you see online, and has that ever changed your perception of people as content creators?
I haven't met up with too many people at the Moo event. That's the first time I met you.
Yes.
Back
Yeah.
in
21.
2021, yeah.
Mhm.
Like the end of 2021. There was just people who like gave like a ton of energy sometimes online. And like when I met them in person, it was like a lot, like they were a lot more shy than I was expecting.
Okay.
But I've never met anyone who's been like rude or anything like that. But
Mm-hmm.
there were definitely people who were like I thought they were going to be like this like huge extrovert and like they just weren't really.
Yeah.
But other than that, I feel like everyone like TikTok helps because I feel like on Instagram it's like you're not really speaking, it's just photos.
Right.
So I can't hear people's voices on Instagram, and like that's where I just like imagine their personality even though I don't know them. I've never met them.
They're a social relationship.
Yeah. I'm like, I know everything about you. But on TikTok it's like people are talking more, so it's like you can really like feel people's vibes
Mhm.
through that, which is helpful. Which helped me too, like going into the influencer trip in Park City. Because I was like, if I feel like it's like if people were just like the dancing influencers, then like
Yeah.
I wouldn't know what they're like anyways. But everyone we invited did like all
Authentic
talking.
personality.
Yeah.
More
like I feel like I
talking,
could feel
yeah.
their
Yeah.
vibe beforehand.
Yeah.
And they all met like exactly what I was kind of expecting.
Yes, same. I mean, everyone there are people that I like see all of their content too. So I feel like they definitely all translated. Like the group that we had there was so cohesive. I thought that we all had so much fun.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I think that it's a lot easier to show maybe like a more outgoing, extroverted version of yourself online, even myself included. Some days I can like film a really great video and then the next day I'm like, I just don't want to talk to anyone at all.
Yeah.
So I get it. What are some mistakes that creators make when reaching out to Casely trying to work with you? I think Alexis said on the trip that a lot of times people will email her and she'll be like, hey, I love the brand. Would you send me some phone cases? And then doesn't send like their name or their Instagram or
Oh
anything.
yeah. A lot of
it's
people
just,
don't
like,
send their
annoying.
Instagrams. I'm like, I don't know who I'm speaking to.
Yeah.
So I definitely like seeing like media kits and like kind of like seeing like their demographics like definitely help, especially because like our audience is like 93% female. So like
Mhm.
we definitely want people who have like a similar audience to like who we are. So like if people aren't sending like their demographics, like that's like a little like challenging because I'm like trying to figure out like who follows them, like because I'm only looking at their page for like 15 seconds, like quickly glowing through it, like seeing if like their vibe is similar to our vibe and kind of like running off that. But yeah, definitely include your social handles. That obviously is number one thing. Media kits are super helpful.
I think like not providing enough context is an issue in other areas too. Like if they're not giving them to you, like that's not helpful. Like you can't really follow up. But like we'll also get outreach from some artists that want to work with us, and like because we do this like artist spotlight
Okay,
program.
for the designing.
Yeah, and like a lot of the times artists will reach out and just be like, hey, like, can I design for you? Won't send us a website, won't send us like any of their work. And we're like, well, there's just no world in which we're gonna work with you then. So
Yeah.
like if you send stuff or even like a really like shitty mock-up of like a case, like that would be amazing to see, you know? But
Yeah,
I think it's just like the more information, the better, always.
for sure.
Okay. That's good information. You guys heard it here first. If you want to work with Casely, send them your first,
Shitty
last
mock-up,
name,
yeah.
your social security number,
Exactly.
and a whole portfolio. So, Christy, we just talked about your role. And then, Emily, I want to talk about like your day to day as a business owner. And then, I don't know how it happened, but we're like wrapping up. We're coming
good.
to an hour. So, then we'll just kind of like leave it with some last thoughts. But I want people to know what your life looks like.
Yeah, so it kind of changes every day, but I would say like every day I'm doing like maintenance on the website, making sure like if we're running a sale, like changing things out or, you know, updating the cover photo on our homepage, updating products, just kind of keeping Shopify up to date. And then every quarter we're coming out with 6 new phone cases. So I'll kind of be continuously thinking about designs or we also have been like working on a bunch of collabs. So right now, I don't know if I can spoil this, but we're working on
The fun on weekdays.
Some-
Fun on
Ooh, a
Weekdays,
little
listeners.
spoiler. No. So right now we're working on a Met collab and we're doing a round 2 of our Grateful Dead collab.
Yeah.
And then coming in October, we're gonna do the Beatles. So we're working on all
Amazing.
of that right now. So it's all very exciting and also like so much pressure because I'm like, people love these bands or
Right.
like that museum, and I'm like, how do I like do it justice? But now having Julianne is so amazing because we can like bounce back ideas all day, and it's been like so much less stressful.
That's so exciting. Do you
yeah.
think that with the rise of influencer marketing that these collaboration designs are going to be kind of like your future of Casely then?
For sure. I feel like when we our first launch was Grateful Dead, and I feel like that was kind of like the big turning point for our brand. Like,
Mhm.
my boyfriend's very into Fish. I don't know if you've heard of this
Jam
band,
band.
but so unfortunately, I've been to like 50 shows. Just kidding, I love them. But like, so when the Grateful Dead people reached out, I was like, this gave me like so much street cred in that community because they were like, this is crazy. And so
Oh,
I feel like-
and Emily said, like, if you go to like a Dead & Co show, which is like the cover band of Grateful Dead with like John Mayer in it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Emily, like her and her boyfriend, like love going to the shows, and they said they see the Grateful Dead Casey cases everywhere,
Oh my
like
God.
all over the place. You can see them.
Yeah, so when we got that as our first collab, it was kind of like the perfect situation for me because I was like, I understand this community like through and through. Like,
And
w-
Jeremy, who we were also we had launched Grateful Dead while we were in quarantine, and Jeremy is like also a huge like Deadhead, so that also helped. Like we were all like super excited about it.
the passion behind that project was insane.
Yeah.
Which was
Like,
weird because
Jeremy was
our
the
brand is not like that. You
Yeah.
know?
And Jeremy was the photographer for our launch. I was the model. We're like running around New Bern, North Carolina.
It was very fun. But like, I feel like that is like the essence of our brand. Like when we get excited about something, it does well.
Mhm.
And so I think that's why collabs have been so huge for us because not only is it that like people have like a cult following, it's that like we get excited about something new, like something exciting. So like when we pick a collab, we're never just like leaning into something just because like it's being offered to us. It's because
Right.
we're all 7 of us now excited about it. Because if somebody's like not feeling it, we're like, all right, the work's not gonna be good enough. You know?
Yeah. Like we
So-
definitely all have to like love it or else
Yeah.
we're not doing it.
Yeah, so we're very excited about what's coming out this year.
Yeah.
I love that for you guys. I think the energy definitely like translates for sure. I'm excited to see all the new projects you have. And you mentioned, so Christy, the first time that we met was 2021 winter, right?
Yeah.
And it was in LA.
Yep.
And we met at the Show Me Your Moo event. And I remember even back then, you brought your friend at the time
Yeah.
that was there.
Caitlin, yeah.
And she was like, oh my gosh, like you guys have to work with Casely. Like this is just such a good fit. And so now that you guys are on the podcast and you know me better personally from our trip together, I kind of want to know how you feel Fun on Weekdays translates well and reflects kind of like your guys' values at Casely.
I mean,
That's a mic drop question.
I mean, like, I feel like that should just be our motto, though. Like, literally,
Yeah.
we're like, let's crack a beer in the middle of the day. Like,
Yeah.
no, literally, we'll have like brainstorms, and we're like, we're all friends. Like, nothing is off limits here. Like, let's just like let our
Spill your
guards
brain out
down.
and, like,
yeah,
Yeah, like
Like-
our planning sessions are like literally like
we'll
let's
go
get
to a
case of
bar.
Coronas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. That's how you guys bond as a team, is just having fun
Yeah,
on your work
totally.
days.
yeah.
Yeah. Fun on work days.
All right.
Fun on work days. That's a new one.
Just
Yeah.
a Tuesday afternoon beer. We're not alcoholics, I promise.
Well, it's really cool to hear your story and that you guys kind of started on this like giant couch in your 9-person house. And now you're here on this 2-person couch and we get to hear your story. So I'm really grateful to have you guys on and thank you so much.
Thank you
Thanks
so much
for
for
having
having us.
us.
This
Oh my
has been so
gosh.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. You guys, again, if you want to order any phone cases, my code is Jenna Palick. It's 30% off. And who knows, after this, we might be talking about doing a Fun on Weekdays case collection.
Hell yeah.
Maybe I'll be your next
Hey,
step.
We
Who
love
knows?
it. We're all passionate about it.
That's true.
Love
we
it.
talked about it.
Well, who knows? You guys keep an eye open. I think this episode will come out in about a month and a half because I'm recording in advance. So I might be speaking too soon. It might be already in the works. We'll see.
Ooh, hopefully.
All right. Well, thank you guys for coming and thank everyone for listening. I had a lot of fun today and I'll talk to all of you guys next Tuesday. Bye.
Yay.
Bye.
You're like, you both look at each other
Do
like,
we
do we
say
say
bye?
bye?